Good afternoon. I'm here to present our experiences on infrastructure inspection, in particular bridges, our experiences here locally and some parts of Africa. This is the outline of my presentation. Okay, I think our host already mentioned a lot of this, so I'm gonna skip it. But maybe I could share with you some of the countries where we've worked in. We pinned in the map. We've worked in for GIS and mapping projects. We worked as of the last count, 21 countries, mostly in Asia and Africa. We, for drone work, as mentioned earlier, we're the first company to adopt drones in our work, and we have used it for mapping, for inspection, and other purposes. Actually, there's another inspection work, type of inspection work we'll be doing soon. It's to inspect big airplanes, so like 747, A300, using drones. So for infrastructure, basically we have used our drones to help us in our work for infrastructure such as airports, bridges, and roads. So we've worked on at least 2 international airports already. That's using our drones, plus of course our ground survey through. We also worked on the land survey, but we have used drones also to augment our land surveys, and we've done that for Onyara International Airport in the Solomon Islands and Nicolay Lobato International Airport in Timor-Leste. So this afternoon, I'd like to talk more about our experiences on bridges. Actually, I'd like to also credit, I'd like to mention that most of these bridges that we've worked on were part of our work with Nippon Engineering, or Daya Nippon Engineering. I met the country manager earlier, so a lot of these bridges were done in cooperation with Daya Nippon Engineering. So just to describe some of the work we've done, these are our bridge experiences. So we've inspected Magapit Bridge into the Gagarao, a suspension bridge with a length of 253 meters, Makabagal Bridge in Butuan City, cable-stayed bridge with a length of 908 meters. These are all classified as special bridges by DPWH. San Juanico Bridge, steel girder with steel truss with a length of 2.16 kilometers. Agas Bridge, which is known to be our tallest bridge also in Leyte, with a height of 89 meters and length of 350 meters. Chirundu Bridge in Zambia, actually this is at the border of Zambia and Zimbabwe. It's a pre-stressed concrete box girder with a length of 400 meters. And Victoria Falls Bridge, a very important bridge in Africa. It's a deck arc steel bridge with a height of 128 meters and a length of 198 meters. So we also did some road protection work, inspection work for road protection. That's just a portion of Acop Kapangan Sibunga Road for DPWH some years ago. we also used our drone services. Our drone services were also engaged by Nippon, Daya Nippon Engineering to do some preliminary study on Luanga Bridge in Zambia, and we were hired by Eito Japan engineering consultants to do preliminary mapping for preliminary study for Kikafu Bridge in Tanzania. So, what are the advantages of using drones in bridge construction? I'd like to cite some of the advantages of using drones. But in our experience, this is what we see are the advantages of using drones. So it will reduce inspection time. It will provide high-resolution geotagged photos and videos. And from these photos, you can also produce 3D models that can be used to conduct quick measurements on the structure. So you can actually have a point cloud that you could manipulate using even a free software like we use. I think what we use is Cloud Compare. It's just free. And then you can use that to measure different elements of the bridge, different areas in the bridge. Risks to inspectors are reduced. No need to climb the towers in the bridge. Traffic disturbances can be minimized because, as you will see later in our recommendations, we prefer to use small consumer drones in our work. Really, we find it. I'll cite the advantages later, but we find it very useful to just use commercial off-the-shelf drones. So at most, we just stop one direction of the traffic when we are doing we're doing our inspection. Another advantage would be close-up photos of damaged and inaccessible parts of the structure would be possible. So this is a sample of a portion of Magapit Bridge showing some corrosion on one of the cables. Okay, so how can drones be used for bridge inspection? This is from our experience. It's used to document, access, update, and model the bridge. So by document, we mean we can document the current situation of the bridge through the capture of high-resolution photos and videos. Access, drones will give you access to very inaccessible parts of the bridge. Update, you can update the area maps, as-built plans of the bridge using photogrammetry. And model, you can even generate a 3D model for quick measurements of the bridge. I keep mentioning bridge, but you can actually use this for other structures as well. But what I would like to present would be actual projects that we have done. So when you use drones for work, you are required several permits. So number one would be the operator permit. That's for the company. The company has to be certified as a drone operator. Actually, right now, CAAP is in the process of revising their rules. And well, for some would say it's more strict, or some would say it would be it's less strict. But it took us about 2 years to become a drone operator way back in 2015. But it was very, very worth it. So we went through a lot of checks by CAAP, by the military. They checked our background. There were a lot of fear before on the use of drones before. So they visited our office and checked our facilities, checked our training, things like that. Also, you would have to have licensed drone pilots. Yeah, we're proud. I'm proud to say that I'm the first one who really went through the process of being tested by CAAP. Also, the drones that you use should be registered with CAAP. And when you're going to use your drones already, you have to have Department of National Defense clearance or J2 clearance. Okay, you have to do this for just before you go out, because you cannot get a flying permit from CAAP because this is one of their requirements. So finally, after getting your J2, then you can apply for a flying permit. Okay, so these are the just screenshots of the requirements. Operator permit. That's the drone pilot license. It looks like a driver's license now. Okay, this is the drone registration. Okay. And then this is the J2 clearance. And then finally, this is the flying permit. Okay, typical equipment that we use. These are the typical equipment we use for our drone mapping or drone infrastructure survey work. So usually we use drones, survey equipment, GPS, etc. I'll show you later what we actually use. And then sometimes we feel that drones are not the only solution, so we use a GoPro sometimes, a 360 camera. And I'll show you how we use them. So drones are of two types. First is, there are two types, rotary and the fixed wing. So I'll show you some of the rotary drones that we prefer to use. So one of our workhorses would be the Mavic 2 Pro. It's very small and very quite reliable drone. DJI Phantom 4 V2 also. So we use this for mapping, but mostly for close-up inspection. We can also use it to map about 30 hectares per flight. And it can be operated following an automatic flight plan, or it can be controlled manually. Now, another type of drone that we find very useful, actually, we use it also for our survey work. We also use the DJI Phantom 4 RTK with DRTK2. So this time the drone is can be connected to a base station so that the geotags on the photos can be more accurate, resulting in a more accurate map. So this is a tiny drone that we use, but we find it very useful, especially for inspecting the undersides of the bridge, because it's special because it's not so common. But I think you can still buy this. It's called the Parrot Anafi, and what's so special about this is that it has a vertically upward-looking camera, and it's very useful for inspecting the undersides of the bridge because you can directly look up. Unlike the DJI drones, which normally you could tilt it 30 degrees vertically up or down. So we find this useful, and I'll show you some examples of what we've taken. But now the Parrot Anafi has been updated. There's a new product called Parrot Anafi AI. Basically, it's the same as the Parrot Anafi. The concept is the same as the previous Parrot Anafi, but this time it has a better camera. Actually, the camera here has twice the resolution of the DJIs we've been using. Normally, our cameras were at 20 megapixel resolution. This one has 40 megapixels, And this one also has a vertically upward-looking camera, and it has higher wind resistance, about 50 kph. And also it can be connected to the base station through Wi-Fi, just like the DJI drones. But then but then as an added feature, it can also connect to the base to the remote control using 4G. So that will enable you to connect to the drone from a much farther distance. Okay, other drones that we use for various applications, sometimes we get requests to do a LiDAR survey, so we use a DJI M300 RTK. This one has a Zenmuse L1 sensor and a 20 megapixel camera, and positioning would be coming from an RTK base station. We also, aside from the rotary drones, we also use fixed-wing UAVs. And these are the fixed-wing. We have other fixed-wing drones, but these are our favorites. It comes from the company, Swiss company called SenseFly. First one, you see the kid holding that, the drone. That's a Maasai boy. Which we met in Tanzania, when we were doing our survey. That's called the SenseFly EB, and if you would notice, okay, you would notice here the registration number. It's RPU 001 Alpha, meaning that's the very first drone certified by CAAP in the Philippines. And features of these drones would be it can map larger areas. It can map about 1 square kilometer or 100 hectares per mission. And it has a downward-looking camera, but then it cannot take video, but other sensors can be available. Other equipment we're using, of course, we use RTK GPS equipment to establish our ground controls, so we would have a more accurate model and also base maps. For total station, we use this mainly to establish ground controls. We're not selling the survey equipment. Okay, other useful accessories that you may want to have when you're doing drone work or inspection work would be two-way radios and mobile phones, because it's also necessary to do when you do on-the-fly missions. It's necessary to have. It would be good to have internet when you plan your missions. Okay, optional equipment, laser rangefinder to do quick measurements, and the wind anemometer. This may be useful, especially when you're just beginning. We recommend that you be aware of the maximum wind resistance of the drone you are using. For the new Parrot AI Max wind resistance is about 50 kilometers per hour. So if you just try to sense it yourself, you would know if it's 50 kilometers per hour. So maybe if a wind anemometer would be useful. But we've been doing this for years now, so we have got quite a good feel when it's a good time to fly or not. Okay, I'd like also to say that drones are not always the solution. So like, for example, the undersides, interior portions of the bridge, you may want to look at other sensors or cameras to use. In our case, we used, this is when we were inspecting Victoria Falls Bridge. There were gangways under the bridge. So we were able to access the underside of the bridge using the gangways, and we just attached a GoPro on a range pole and took panoramic shots, 360 shots of the underside. And we use this for our report. Software. So these are some of the software that we are using to process the drone imagery that we have. We have been using Pix4D Mapper and Pix4D Matic. These are established. There are free processing software, but if you're doing professional work, we would recommend Pix4D Mapper and Pix4D Matic. Shameless plug, we're the official reseller here. Okay, and actually it's one of the most popular processing software around, and we learned from the Swiss makers of that software that the very first licenses that they sold in 2014, was to a Swiss company and us. So license number 1 and 2 was given to us and a Swiss company. So other software that we find useful would be Google Earth. We use this to plan our missions, find out what hazards are there, and other, just to know the area. GeoSetter is a good software, useful software that we are using also. It's free, and it's used to create KMLs of your photos. You can use this to check whether your photos were properly geotagged. Just before you leave the field and go back to the office, it would be good to be able to check whether you got good imagery. And this can help you. We also like to use VLC. VLC is also a free software that we like to use to view our videos, because this enables as you would expect, when we're inspecting structures, we would be getting a lot of videos and photos. And VLC allows us to view videos and be able to zoom in while we are viewing the photos. So this is quite a useful software that we use to inspect the videos that we capture in the field. And then Render Stuff is another free service that enables you to view the panoramic images. We use this to view, for example, the imagery that we took of the undersides of the bridge using the GoPro camera. Okay, now going to the drone inspection team. Mainly, for the minimum, you should have, of course, the drone pilot who controls the drone, cameraman who manages the taking the photos and the videos. We prefer to separate the person controlling the camera from the drone pilot, so the drone pilot can just concentrate on flying the drone. The cameraman would take care of taking the photos and the videos. And then the spotter checks for obstructions and warns the drone pilot. This is very important. And in many cases, we hire a survey aide that the survey aide would provide miscellaneous support for the team. Okay, I'd like to share you also some safe flight management practices. We got this because also our company is part of a worldwide flying labs network. We're called the Philippines Flying Labs, and we use this Philippines Flying Labs to do our CSR work. So when we go respond to disasters, we go in not as SRDP only, but we also go in as Philippines Flying Labs. Okay, so for the pilot and spotter, you need to, before you go out, you have to plan your mission. You wear the proper glasses or goggles. Keep your face away when the drone is on. Always be aware of your surroundings. Always fly with a spotter. Do a preliminary pre and post flight checklist every mission, and always bring your RPAS license. Also, we recommend that you always fly with 100% battery of the drone, and you keep your missions to only around 15 to 20 minutes. Don't push it so much. It's also bad for the battery, and it might be dangerous. Check your drone for any damage before and after each flight. You check the drone itself, the body of the drone, the propeller, battery, gimbal, SD card. Also, you have to set the return to home altitude before flying, and reset the return to home altitude higher than your mission altitude. Also important, we do reconnaissance of the area before flying. You check for obstacles in the area and other hazards. You also check the weather condition, avoid flying in strong wind and rain. Stay from communications towers and power lines, because this could cause you to lose control of your drone. You don't fly over crowded areas. You don't fly above 400 feet unless you get a permission from CAAP, because sometimes we are forced to fly higher than 400 feet, so we get the permission for that. Don't fly near a no-fly zone. Okay, also, don't fly BVLOS. BVLOS stands for Beyond the Visual Line of Sight. So when you cannot see the drone already, when you cannot see the drone anymore, that's beyond your line of sight already. Now, in our experience, in my experience, if the drone is about 2 kilometers away, I could still see it. But then beyond that, I couldn't see it anymore. So for me, I interpret that as about 2 kilometers away from you. But you can also if you really need to fly far, you can you can fly EVLOS. Now, what is EVLOS? So EVLOS stands for Extended Visual Line of Sight. You can extend your line of sight by having a spotter who is farther than you and would be nearer to the drone. So he could be your eyes also on the drone. So that's EVLOS. Okay, so there are many checklists that could be installed on your phone, and these are some that you could look into if you're using iOS or Android. Okay, so also for drone safety, from your base, before you go out to the field, you check the firmware of the drone, you check your app, download the KML of the area of interest, check the battery. You do all of these before you even go out to the field. Check the weather, and just before you fly, you report your activity to the authority. Okay, and then before you go back, you make sure that to check the airframe of your drone for cracks and loose parts. Check the data and the photos, and report to the authority after you finish your activity. Okay, now I proceed to the bridge inspection cases. Okay. Victoria Falls Bridge would be the first one. This is a very historical, this is an engineering landmark as per the American Society of Civil Engineers. This bridge was built 100 years ago. It was meant to connect Cape Town in South Africa to Cairo in Egypt. But then it was never realized. The railway actually extended up to Tanzania only. Now, this particular bridge, can handle pedestrian, road, and railway. There's a railway, one railway line passing through the bridge, and it connects Zambia and Zimbabwe, and it's over the Zambezi River. It's called Victoria Falls. It's because that bridge is right next to Victoria Falls. That's the largest mass of water on Earth, falling mass of water on Earth. It's a very spectacular. This is one of our best adventures, actually. One of our best drone adventures. So this is Victoria Falls. And before we, okay, this is what the procedure we're doing when we're inspecting bridges. So before we go out to the field, we do data collection. So we try as much as possible to get as-builts or construction plans or any plan of the bridge, because we also try to follow the naming conventions for the members of the parts of the bridge on the as-built. So we try to follow that to be consistent. So this is what we got from RDA, Road Development Authority of Zambia. So we follow their naming convention also. So these were the inspection methods that we employed for the different parts of the bridge. For the side trusses, we used drone. Bottom trusses, drone also. We used the Parrot Anafi for the bottom trusses. We also used, for the top road deck, we use a drone also, rotary drone. But for the interior areas, interior trusses, we use a 360 camera. And also the bottom road deck and also the interior trusses were inspected using a 360 camera. Okay, this is the flight plan for mapping, for creating the area map. And this is the image acquisition plan for mapping and also 3D modeling. So we took a lot of side shots also of the bridge. Actually, this was very challenging for us because for Victoria Falls Bridge, there were a lot of cables above the bridge, and also there's an operator of a bungee jump there. They had a lot of cables there that could be obstructions to our drone. Actually, we tried the bungee jump also. It's spectacular. Okay, so these are images of our team taking underside interior 360 shots of the interior portions. Okay, and this is the area map. Okay, now these are the typical damages that we found using the as-builts to locate the images, because we're producing reports, paper reports. So using that to locate the images, we identify the corrosion on the underside of the bridge, because this is a metal bridge underside. We also found some missing bolts. So that's the missing bolt there. Actually, I found a missing bolt also on the ground, but I put it back because I was thinking to get it as a souvenir, but it's a historical site, so I put it back. And we found some buckling also. Remember, this is a 100-year-old bridge. So another bridge that we inspected is Chirundu Bridge, also at the border of Zambia and Zimbabwe. It's a pre-stressed concrete box girder bridge, and with a length of 400 meters. So this is the construction plan that we got. And this is the flight plan for the area map. And these are the imagery that we took for 3D modeling and also for mapping. So I just like to point out this interesting interesting series of photos. Actually, when the drone flies, it flies in what we call orbits, and the camera is always pointing at the center. So we get more chances to get what they call this, oblique shots, and this helps produce nice 3D models. Okay, this is the area map and some typical damages. Like, okay, this is a concrete bridge. We found some cracks. I won't show all. And next, I'd like to show you San Juanico Bridge. For San Juanico Bridge, this is the flight plan that we used to make the area map. And these are some of the flight plan also for, this is the image acquisition that we used for 3D modeling. So you would see that, that series of orbits again. And maybe just a quick 3D. Okay, now, and this is the orthophoto and typical damages. Interestingly, we also found missing bolts here, a missing nut and a missing bolt, several actually. So this can be found in our report to DPWH, JICA and DPWH. There's corrosion also, and some cracks, but these are just superficial cracks, I believe. Okay, and this is for Agas Bridge, our tallest bridge. Again, oh, okay. Here, we tried to search for as-built plans with DPWH, but we were not able to get. But when we went to the site, we visited the DPWH office, satellite office there, and they had printouts. So we just took photos of the construction plan and used it as our guide. Flight planning, area map, 3D modeling, and orthophoto. This is the orthophoto now. And these are the cracks. Concrete, mostly cracks, but there's some spalling also. All right, this is the 3D model. Okay, some recommendations from our experience. So the types of drones we use for close-up inspection, we mostly use rotary area maps for large area. If you're going to map a large area, we prefer to use fixed wing. Smaller areas, smaller bridges, or some other smaller areas, rotary would be enough. We prefer consumer off-the-shelf drones, not so much specialized drones, because it's easy to use and maintain. And as the inspector becomes more efficient, or your drone pilot becomes more efficient, more specialized drones can be used. And as drones can potentially cause damage, especially in heavily trafficked areas, reliable, lightweight drones are preferred. And in the operation of these drones, there are some modes that we prefer depending on what we're doing. So sometimes we fly the drone manually, but sometimes there's some assisted manual modes of the drone that we can use. So it depends on the drone that you are using, so manual or assisted manual. And we'd like to say that drones are not always the solution. Sometimes hiring a boat would be easier, so we did the same for the undersides of San Juanico Bridge. We hired drones to help us acquire more imagery. So, timing and weather. Of course, it would be best to do it in the dry season. For mapping, best conditions would be around 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., less shadow, less harsh lighting conditions. The winds are calmer, but always check the weather report. When inspecting, also, in experience, we wasted a lot of shots before. Avoid the direct sunlight on the object to inspect. Perhaps inspect the western portion first, if it's in the morning, and the eastern portion in the afternoon. And then for safety, to minimize risk and interference to vehicular traffic, it would be a balance. You can't do your work if you don't stop at least a portion of the traffic. So advisable to at least close one lane at a time, not close the whole bridge. But we did that when at the Zambian-Zimbabwe border. We were asked to stop the traffic, so we closed the border between two countries for about 15 minutes. Drone selection, again, we prefer small, lightweight drones. What we'd like to see in the future, we'd like to see more automatic feature recognition to automate identification of defects in the bridges, such as rusting, cracking, and other defects. Actually, there are some big companies that are already doing this, but not yet commercially, rolled out commercially. As you would expect, you would end up with a lot of photos and the videos, and you have to pore through all of them. So it would be nice to have automatic features. Development of high-resolution cameras, and we'd like to see drones with higher wind resistance, longer range, and longer battery life. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you very much.
Okay, again, ladies and gentlemen, round of applause to Engineer Joel Cruz. If I can ask Engineer Joel to stay on stage as I call on the co-panelists for our final session for today. Okay, so introducing first. UFC lang eh. Okay, joining Engineer Joel is the Engineer 3 from the Region 13 of Department of Public Works and Highways. May I call on Engineer Mark Gavillo. Round of applause, please. And may I call back on stage Engineer Erwin Mendoza, Road Segment Manager, Holcim Philippines Incorporated. Big applause, please. Last panelist, Engineer Raymond De Vera, Project Manager, South Luzon Expressway Toll Road, Santa Clara International. And the moderator to explain exploring the role of technology in road construction innovations and technologies for roads, bridges, and tunnels projects. Let's all welcome Mr. Steve Kite, Director, Bridges and Civil Structures from Arab. Big applause.
Okay, thank you, Ian. I think we've had a great conference over the past couple of days. This is the final session. I'm aware that we're running a little behind schedule, so we'll get right into it. And I'll ask the panelists to keep their answers reasonably brief, and so we don't drag on too much longer. First of all, I'd just like each of the panelists in turn to introduce themselves and say a little bit about their backgrounds. We've heard from two of the panelists as speakers today already, but can we just go around the line? Start with you, Mark.
I guess, good afternoon, everyone. I guess you already heard about my brief background, professionally speaking. But moreover, just a quick roundup of yesterday. I'm also an incoming Chief of Staff at one of the Department of Office of the Secretary Bunoan. So that would be on December pa naman. So that's why I told them to use only Engineer 3 as of now. So yun lang siya. So it's with some of humility. Yun na lang.
I'm Joel Cruz of SRDP Consulting and Philippines Flying Labs.
Erwin Mendoza, Road Segment Manager of Holcim Philippines.
I'm Raymond De Vera. I'm the Project Manager for SLEX Toll Road 4 project of Santa Clara International Corporation.
Thank you, everybody. So over the past couple of days, we've heard a lot about the importance that roads, bridges, and tunnels have in connecting communities and the need, particularly in the Philippines, to develop more connectivity. And there's many projects under planning by DPWH and already under implementation by many of the companies represented here today. But we also heard about how climate change is really impacting the world that we live in and how we need to strike a good balance between projects that benefit the lives of people and the impacts that these have on our planet. We've had some presentations about technology and innovation in particular, be that about managing data through the design process into construction and asset management, about survey work, looking at geometry and representing that geometry in 3D and much more visualization of those ways, optimization of design, and then various implementation technologies. And so there are a lot of innovations and new technologies out there happening at the moment, and there's more coming in the future. So I'm just going to invite each of the panelists to give their view from their particular field of expertise on what innovations and technologies have had the most impact recently and what they see maybe coming in the future.
First, I'm the part of the national government, which is DPWH being as the primary construction engineering arm of the Philippine government. So I have already suggested this one to the entire MANCOM of the DPWH Central Office, which is really first to modify and update the guidelines being used and being implemented by AASHTO because we're already way behind that. So currently we do have the 2020 or the 10th edition of the guide specifications for highway construction. So may iba po doon na hindi inculcated at kailangan i-update ang Blue Book na ginagamit hindi lamang by DPWH but all of the contractors, even in the LGU stand. So aside from that, we're also implementing, as I have suggested, that aside from these updates of the policies, but also to use the new AI system, being also suggested and being currently used by the U.S. Department of Transportation, which is the AASHTO pavement for materials engineering design, version 3.0. So for that, further also, I just want to also add, aside from using the drones, also we do have the new Leica Geosystems Scan Station P50, which has a long range for viewing the 3D terrestrial laser scanner. Yun lang. Bali siya yung pinaka-latest na used by the U.S. Department of Transportation. So I just want to incorporate that one in the Philippine setting. Sana. And others.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes. And now, Joel, we just heard about the technologies you use with your company in using drones for surveys. Can you tell us a little bit more about how that's made surveys easier and how that technology may develop in the future even more?
Yeah, actually, drones was really a game changer for us. I used to work for an aerial survey company also, where they used to maintain fleets of manned aircraft. So with drones, we can do it, although on a smaller scale, but we can do that with drones now. But then also we still have the capability for using manned aircraft when the area is large. We use still manned aircraft, but most of the time we use drones.
Thank you. And Erwin, we also heard from you earlier today about the concrete products that your company is developing and are now available, particularly with an emphasis on green technology. There's a lot of technology involved in developing these new products. And they're obviously quite innovative. Would you like to tell us a little bit more about some of those aspects and how they're helping the implementation of these projects?
Yeah, thank you. So we're still focusing on the net zero pledge or coming up with products that are environmentally friendly or to help mitigate the climate change. So one of the immediate focus here is the circularity or the use of construction demolition waste, for example, and use it as aggregates to be able to minimize the consumption of virgin aggregates, for example, in the construction of roads. So we're just using, there's a technology already, but there's still some refining to do with the technology that would probably improve the performance of these aggregates at par with that of the virgin aggregates. So hopefully we can work with DPWH here. We are working with the academe as of now, universities, and hopefully for the accreditation, certification, because we heard in some countries, in Europe, for example, it's a mandate. I don't know if it's a mandate already that 20% of aggregates should be replaced by a recycled aggregate to, meet the objectives of sustainability. So that's one. And we continue to explore furthermore the reduction of clinker in cement. Clinker is the most CO2 emission intensive part of producing cement. So we reduce it further. Calcined clay, these are the technologies that are currently available, and hope to bring it here in the Philippines as well. That's it.
Thank you. And to you, Raymond, we haven't heard from you yet in this conference, so it's very good to welcome you onto the stage now. Could you tell us a little bit about the technology and innovations being used on your SLEX project?
Yes, me being part of the contractor, we actually, the climate change is a big, poses big effect to our schedule, planning and implementation. So that's why being the contractor, we are very open to new technologies, especially for the soil stabilization methods, and then how you make the work faster or more efficient, so that you could save and basically complete the project beyond, within the timeline. So one of the things we did, we explored using geofoams to improve the soil, and then also to be efficient in the embankment works for the structures, and also for areas that are very weather dependent, considering that the area we are working are prone to typhoons and rains.
Okay, thank you. I mean, obviously we have a very slightly diverse panel here with a member from DPWH, some suppliers and materials, survey, and then a contractor. So it's good to get perspective on that. Kind of working down that hierarchy, obviously the guide specifications, which we all work to within the industry, are very important, and it must be a challenge to keep those up to date with the pace of change that's happening in the industry with technology and materials and the like. But we do have to kind of find ways to address the very big challenges that are put in front of us for these large-scale projects, which are being demanded, which are going to make a big difference to everybody's lives. And obviously, there's a lot of companies here also in the background in the suppliers' booths with a lot of technology on display at this conference, so that's good to see. One thing I'd just like to ask Joel, because you mentioned it in your presentation, kind of the future of how additional technology may assist. You mentioned the image recognition that some companies are starting to develop, and I could see this making a big difference to the efficiency of being able to interpret the data that's collected from your surveys. How do you see AI helping in that image recognition process? Are there any obstacles that are preventing that developing quickly?
I'm not really an expert in AI, but I can share with you what I've seen. I've seen some Japanese companies already being able to identify cracks automatically, but I think they're still having challenges to roll it out to make it commercially available to users like us. So I'm still waiting for that. Although there are already some some applications that you could see already in the internet that provides roof inspection services, and many of the functions that we're doing manually are already being automated, like identifying flooded areas on the roof and some rusting. But those are the easier ones. But then the random features like cracks would be, I think, and because of the size would be more difficult. Although I've seen some samples that were shown to us, but I think they were also quite controlled. So I would wish to have more development in that area.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting area to watch. We also heard a presentation yesterday about image recognition in defects in pavement, in surfacing, and how the technology is starting to improve and the accuracy is getting better and better. And I think similar technology will apply in image recognition for survey data of structures as well. Yes. So we'll see how that develops and who can take that forward. Erwin, do you want to say anything more about about how other products that you're developing can support clients and the project teams and what products you're working on which are going to be available in the future?
Yeah, as I've said, some probably there are cements that will be lower in clinker content in the future. So I hope the consuming market will be ready for that. I think everybody is pushing for that because of the climate change challenge. But there are a lot of developments in terms of research and development, whether in cement, in construction, happening in our R&Ds in Leon. So you can look it up in our website and you can see 3D printing used in bridges. We have the Striatos Bridge demo in Venice displayed in the park. It's a first 3D printed bridge. There's also development on 100% recycled clinker. So it's clinker not made from limestone anymore, so you don't have emissions coming out when you hit this limestone to produce your clinker, but it's recycled materials to produce clinker. So all of these things I'm saying right now, just to give you an idea that this is a very fast, very dynamic change that we are facing right now in terms of meeting the challenges of climate change or sustainability. So it is not yet here in the Philippines, but with the help of the technology that we can transfer here and the expertise of these companies, also with Holcim, then I think in the future we will be able to see these types of developments in our products as well.
Thank you. And Raymond, to you, the scale of the projects that are being proposed at the moment, well, being implemented now, but the scale only gets bigger and bigger. As a contractor, how do you see the technology developing or things that are kind of problems you have that would benefit from new technology and innovation to accelerate the speed of construction?
Most of the time, our problem with technology is how you train the people at the site. So it would be better if we will have more R&D, more trainings, more sessions like this, so that all engineers, all our workers would be aware of the new technology, so that we could apply in the project. That would be more beneficial also to the contractor, to the owner as well. And basically, we are in the world of continuous innovation, so all should benefit from it.
Okay, thank you. I think that's a great advert for conferences like this, where different parts of the industry can get together and meet between the clients, the designers, planners, the contractors, the suppliers, and then also the people responsible for maintenance and the like. And it's great to see that interaction happening here at the conference and the collaboration that brings, as well as being able to view some of the latest innovations and technologies available. I'm aware we're quite late compared to the original timing on the program, but I would ask if anyone else has anything they'd like to say, then please do speak up. Mark, you want to just
I
say
just
something
really
more?
want to add up. First, the part of Wholesome, the DPWH has already incorporated and already used the Wholesome Excel EcoPlanet, as what I have mentioned. That is one of the features, the newest features of last year, being used by DPWH for the rehabilitation of providing rehabilitation of houses and also temporary housing facilities for the areas affected by Super Typhoon Odette. So this was used by DPWH also. So the name again is Wholesome Excel EcoPlanet. This has been good for high workability, durability, reliability, and strength, who passed the requirements for ASTM C595, PNS 63, and Type ITMH classification. So yun yung, the aim of that, of the Wholesome, on their part, I'm going to sabihin ko na lang. So that is, tumutulong sila sa layuning para pagtibayin ang advokasya ng United Nations to push for eliminating carbon footprint on all kinds of construction activities. Yun siya. And then furthermore, I also wanted to for a faster construction activities, especially on the items for concrete pouring, we must really use the different types of concrete pavers. First, the bridge and flat work paver, work bridges, and then highway and airport paver. So dapat, kasi ngayon ang ginagamit lang here in the Philippines is only the kind of paver which is asphalt paver. So it's been used na, even in the NLEX, XLEX. That's for PPP projects. But for common types, even in LGUs, even in if we're going to really use this kind of, mahal lang siya. Kasi it will inculcate you, the contractor, for a using of 75 million US dollars. So mahal siya. So but it will really eliminate time-consuming construction process from 2 years up to 2 months na lang. So if you want to invest in that. Furthermore, I just want to add about AI integration. So BIM has already used for its one of the BrickCAD's AI tools. So BrickCAD BIM is a standalone AI-powered tool or software which converts automatically. It's just a feature that converts 2D drawings into precise 3D. So yun yung integration ng AI for your design para mas mabilis.
Okay, and with that, I'd like to thank all the panelists for joining me up on stage today. I'm going to call this session to a close and hand back to the conference organizers. Ian, are you available to take that? We're wrapping up.
Sound. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, I wasn't really preoccupied, but I was just right there. Okay, how about another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for our good-looking moderators and panelists. Do you have any questions for what was just discussed right now? Any questions from our audience? We have time for maybe one or two. Nope. Concerns? Suggestions? Violent reactions? None? We good? Okay, again, another round of applause for them. Go on. Okay, so before you leave the stage, we would like to present the certificates of appreciation. We're not, you're not leaving without them. This is a small way from the organizers, at least, to have you discuss at our next edition again. And then we sincerely hope that you would still be able to support not only our event, but all the construction companies, the suppliers, everyone involved within the roads, bridges, and tunnels and construction industry. So maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. Okay, so this certificate of appreciation is given to Engineer Mark Revillo from DPWH as one of our speakers yesterday and as one of the panelists today for the third edition of the Philippine Roads, Bridges, and Tunnel Summit. Sir, maraming salamat po. Next is the Certificate of Appreciation to Engineer Joel Cruz from SRDP Consulting as one of our speakers for the third Philippine Roads, Bridges, and Tunnel Summit. And to Sir Erwin Mendoza from our gold sponsor Wholesome Philippines Inc. as one of our honorable speakers for the third Philippine Roads, Bridges, and Tunnels Summit. And of course, to Engineer Raymond De Vera from Santa Clara International as one of the panelists for the third Philippine Roads, Bridges, and Tunnels event. Okay, and lastly, this certificate of appreciation is given to Mr. Steve Kite from Arup as one of our honorable speakers and moderator for the third Philippine Roads, Bridges, and Tunnels event. Okay, again, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up the third Philippine Roads, Bridges, and Tunnels event. Maraming salamat po sa lahat ng nagstay. Give yourselves a big applause, please. And I know most of you has been supporting this event from the very beginning when we were in a small venue and then the pandemic and then, you know, we had to do this, another event wearing face masks. And finally, I think it's about time that we upgrade to, you know, a better venue, a big one, a 5-star hotel to accommodate all our participants and visitors. So maraming salamat po sa pagpapaunlak ninyong lahat. We hope that you would continuously support this event and we would see you all on the 4th edition next year. Thank you very much. Have a good day. And of course, this event would not have been possible without the support of the following sponsors. Our platinum sponsor, Autodesk. They are changing how the world is designed and made. Their technology spans architecture, engineering, construction, product design, manufacturing, media, and entertainment, empowering innovators everywhere to solve challenges big and small. Bentley Systems, they provide innovative software to advance the world's infrastructure, sustaining both the global economy and environment. Topcon Positioning, a global company that specializes in precision measurement and geomatics technology. Topcon have developed and manufactured positioning automation solutions for various industries, including construction, agriculture, surveying, and civil engineering. Gold sponsors, Atad Steel Structure Corporation, Wholesome Philippines Inc., one of the leading building solutions companies in the industry. Virtual Gold sponsor, Infinity Galaxy. Presentation sponsor, OC Global, and Sigma.